What's on your easel? What's on your easel? What's on your easel today? Okay, let's start with what's on your easel. We'll use my phablet. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on this, and hopefully it works. Jamie Lynn, also known AKA Artist Poet Girl, has been doing homework assigned by Art Door. And it is, the challenge was women, females in history, human or alien, fantasy, whatever. And so she has this. Yeah, that's not working very well, is it? She has this page that is all Moon Girl with a poem. And this was last week. It is beautiful. She sent this to me last week, and because it was on Twitter and not as a direct message, it didn't come to my email. So, but the poem is, the oldest female I know, she guards the darkness with her strength of light. She beckons the wild and the poet to song. She brightens lovers' eyes and even the babe to be born. One of the hottest days she backs up the sun, and then she cools and soothes the dear mother to rest. From blue, silver, white she shades, then misty and red she mourns. She even dared to say cheese when the astronauts came. Within her cycle is the power to change even the tides. End of poem. Anyway, that's the poem that's written on there. And, it doesn't rhyme, but it's still a poem, right? Anyway, it's a beautiful page. And I should have showed it off last week, but I missed it because it was in my Twitter feed and not as a direct message or in my email. But there's that one. And then, now let's go back to the screen capture. Sexy redheaded Darcy sends us a weekly face. My computer is suddenly using too much RAM, and I don't know why. So here we go with the sexy redheaded Darcy doing a weekly face. Starts with a rough sketch, starts shading, and I like to shade the eyes first too because I like for the soul to look out at me as I finish it. So there she started with the eyes. And she's adding detail and shading, adding detail and shading, adding detail and shading. Children, I think children are the hardest thing in the world to shade because you start shading them and all of a sudden you have harsh lines and they start looking like little old people. But I think Darcy here has done a very good job with it. So, woohoo Darce, as my wife just said. And then, let's see, she didn't send me another one. So then Jay the Viking sends, the first is Claire, a work in progress, pencil on paper. Second is a whip to third is a life drawing, 25 minutes. So the first one is Claire. What did he say? The first one is Claire, a work in progress on paper. So there's that. Uh-oh.
It's a snake. Run.
Snakes. Okay. So there's Claire. Pencil on paper, work in progress. And then the next one is whip.
I thought we were going to take them home.
It's got a ballet dancer there. Pencil on paper. Very nice stuff, Jay. And then the third one is life drawing, 25 minutes. My 25 minutes, I'm still trying to figure out how to draw the nose. Jay's 25 minutes, he's shading hair. So that's what Jay had on his easel. And then, okay, did you have anything on your easel, hon, besides the little girl's journal? Huh? Okay. My wife has a little girl in her class. Where'd it go? The journal. Where is the journal?
Isn't it right there next to you?
What is next to me?
No, it's looking around the table.
You had it in your hands. You wanted to show it off. Talk us through it because there's challenges involved in this. This is what, guys, hush. This is what my wife teaches in her art journaling class. And this is one of her students.
Is it okay that it's upside down, or do you want me to flip it the other way?
It shouldn't be upside down if you put it your way.
Okay, I didn't know if you'd...
Yeah, no, if you look at it straight, it's your way. Anyway, this is one of her students' journals.
Can I start at the beginning, or
Yeah.
is that too much?
Just
You need to know.
just kind of go quickly.
Sit it.
Still.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is the beginning of their journal, and what they get from me in the beginning of the year is 2 pieces of cardboard, a piece big enough for the spine, and then they have to choose something to cover the book. And they assemble the cover of the book, then they stitch the signatures together. You can kind of see they have to stitch all that together and attach it with a flap. So they basically make a full book. She started hers, and one of the first things that we do is I give them 2 poems from the Journal Fodder Junkies that have the books out, because it kind of talks about journaling and what your art is and what my visual journal is, and I tell them to really think about it, and then they write their opinions on it. The next page was about them or about their family, so they had to choose. She likes to do collage, so in here she's pulled a lot of quotes and different wordplay that she likes. She absolutely loves owls, so we have her hand-drawn owl, and then things that she likes, her favorite sports, and she just talks about herself. Then, hold on, baby. I'll get it for you in a minute. Then they had to, one of the next pages is they had to cut out 30 words from a newspaper and create a poem. And so she put hers in there, and then throughout the time I would teach them how to make a pocket. And so she did a card and backed it. It's an old playing card, and then she journaled here so that her poem is here, but her journaling is hidden. The more personal stuff she can hide. Then we did their greatest fears, and again she has pockets. So we have one, sometimes they stick. So she has one here, and then she has one here hidden behind there, so when it's all together it comes. And then lightning, and she talks about why lightning is scary. She's just, you have to know them, they're so funny. And they used old envelopes to make the pockets. I said, you know, we can get really technical with it, or we can, you know, why reinvent the wheel? Then we did Halloween, not Halloween, things that he would change about school, and so she kind of collaged about that, adding in, because we have uniforms, that they want different socks, and they want more dress-up days, and more time together, and their friends, and places that they like. Then we did Halloween, and she used all her candy wrappers, and we all happily ate candy for her so that she could have this page. And she created her jack-o'-lantern with the Halloween candy scraps, and then journaled up here. So it's kind of hidden but worked into the design at the same time. And then she started taking her book home because she realized that she really liked this. And so this was her over Thanksgiving page. She hand drew the Peanuts characters and journaled this way to create the end of the table. Created her little silly turkey with different materials. And there's like webbing. Oh, can you kind of see? If I get too close, it's kind of funny. And then we talked about making a flap so that the book would fold out more. And so she has her flap that she's added. And she started working with string, and she was still hand drawing. Her journaling's hidden in here. And I said, of course, you have to do a hand turkey.
Obligatory turkey for Thanksgiving.
Obligatory hand turkey. But this is where I noticed that she was really taking to what she was doing. So she did her Disney page. It was her favorite things. And so she started to do the characters. And if she couldn't find them, she started drawing them. So this is hand drawn. Her different movies. the childhood movies that she loved and why, how friendship is important. And then she goes into Disney and the princesses. But here, instead of just leaving it, she started to work thread into it so that we have Rapunzel's hair all curled up, and so the texture is really neat. And she added a flap, and I thought, okay, this is cute. And I pull this up, peekaboo. So she has her silly boo, but then she went even farther with a flap, and she made one of the minions. But this minion is a threefold minion, so you can change his clothes as you go. And she even has journaling on the flaps over here. So, and then she has a flying Peter Pan, so that when you stand up the book, all her favorite Disney things come to life. And it's really very neat. I don't think this way, so I love when my kids do. She used old border.
Don't lose her
Hey,
stars.
We'll glue that back on. I'm just gonna hold it like that. And she used my old border and created a pocket so that she can work in her journaling for Christmas, and it's red and green, of course. Put that there. And then she created a window, and she actually has plastic wrap and her little lights, and they love the scrapbooking paper because it does take some of that stress off. And then she has the one true gift under her card. And then we talked about winter, and with the new movie that had just come out. So we have the journaling about winter, and hot cocoa, skating, a big snowman, a little snowman. I mean, she's just really had fun with it. And then we talked about Valentine's Day, and she says, do I have to do just that? Can I do something else? Because I'm really excited about the Olympics. And I'm like, sure. So she's done her Olympics and more flaps. She just has hidden flaps everywhere. Her Valentine's Day page, all of this is cut out paper in collage. She's done the I love you over here. She did two hands that make the heart, and these are all hers, and she's worked it in. There you go. And then she even created her own envelope instead of using a prepaid or preformed, goodness, one. But as this works, she's written a poem on it or words from one of her bands, and then she created her own envelope. And
She's really getting into it.
She is, and so like every page, it's something different. She's really frustrated with this page, but I think it came out really neat because she has the different layers of tissue paper, paint, and papers to create that Mardi Gras color, and then she's worked in other things. So I know she thinks this one's not finished, so I have no doubts this week and next week she'll still come back to it because it will frustrate her.
Are they ever really finished?
They're never really finished. So that's where they are so far. This is what they've done since August. And it doesn't seem like that much when you look at how long a school year is, but I only see her once a week, and this is what she's done once a week with me. So it's awesome. Thank you for letting me share. Okay, bye-bye.
I absolutely love the fact that she's teaching an art journaling class, and it's one of the first classes that fills up. Those kids love that class because they come in there and they're like, wait, you mean we get to just do free creative stuff? And she gives them challenges, and she gives them techniques, and then she says, you're on your own. Do the technique and do the challenge. As long as you satisfy the challenge and the technique, for instance, as long as you put a pocket to hide the stuff in, as long as you work in a collage, as long as you create your own drawing, as long as you do this, that, or the other thing, whatever challenge she gives her. And then it's like, this week is what's your biggest fear? Spiders and snakes and lightning storms. Oh my! It's awesome, and I'm very proud of her, and I'm very proud of her girls. And I want you to know that wasn't the only beautiful journal that I looked at today. It's just the only one that was finished when it was time to come here, because the girls were still working on their Mardi Gras pages when I surprised her at school. I happened to be in town and I visited her today at school, and I surprised her, and that was the only one that was finished. So that's the one we chose. It's not the only, it's not the best. As good as it is, it just happened to be the only one that was finished, and it's wonderful. Anyway, that's what she had on her easel. And then I have continued to work on the Everyday Matters challenges. What day is this? Day 183, draw an outside bench. See, that's already faded. I didn't even make that as dark as it needed to be. Day 183, draw an outside bench. If they can see him spinning around over there, they're laughing. And then day 184, draw a cat. And let me tell you, right off the bat, I flipped it over to day 184, and I saw draw a cat. And I heard it in Jay's voice, and I was like, oh, man, draw a cat. And I giggled and laughed, and it seriously took me about 20 minutes to straighten up to draw a cat. So, draw a cat. Dude, draw a cat. So anyway, we drew a cat. There is the cat, by the way. Exactly, Mwaka. Draw a cat. As well you should, Jay says. So there's the cat. Those are the two that my apparently my Everyday Matters challenges are only Tuesdays and Wednesdays. On Tuesdays, speaking of Tuesdays, on Tuesdays we draw faces. Don't whine, kiddo. It's almost over. On Tuesdays we draw faces, and so there's the face I sketched for this week's Tuesday Faces. And it's a little girl off of an Amnesty International poster, and it's one of those things in one of those countries where children are forced to marry their rapists, and it's a bad thing. It's a terrible thing, and the haunting face kind of caught my attention, so I had to draw it. And so there's the face that I chose for Tuesday's challenge of draw a face. Hey, son. And then on Wednesdays, we do watercolors. Okay. And then on Wednesdays, we do watercolors. And so this week, I drew my dinner. All right. I painted my dinner. Thanks, Jay. On Wednesday, I painted my dinner. And what? What are you laughing at?
Your dinner.
Oh, you know, it is one of my favorites. And as many coffee cups as I've drawn in the cafes over the last 2 years, you would think I would be better at ellipses. And people look at stuff like this and they say, "Man, that's really good. That's really nice. I really like that one." And all I see is ellipses aren't pointy.
What?
Ellipses aren't pointy. That should be an ellipse.
Yeah, well, that's how it looks when I get it home from the store.
On the
so
top,
right.
on the top of the can, ellipses shouldn't be pointy, and that's what I see. And everybody else is like, "Oh no, man, it's awesome." Okay, well, I just want to point that out because when you look at your own work and you say, "Oh, this should be so much better," I want you to understand. Most everybody else is looking at it, going, "Dude, you did something, and it's awesome." Because one, you did something, and two, you did something, and it's awesome. So. There's my dinner. Vienna sausages. I had Vienna sausage and crackers for dinner that night. My friend Virginia has on her easel, she's doing a Creating the Life Work You Love workshop at the Wellness Studio here in Chickasha. She's doing a lot of art therapy stuff lately. And I know this won't mean anything to those of you in Canada or even Oklahoma City for that matter. But she's been working really hard on getting this together, and she's really proud of it. So I wanted to share with you that she is going to have this workshop on March 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 Friday at the Wellness Studio here in Chickasha, where the yoga is actually a yoga studio. So they're going to art there for a while. I'm very proud of her for that. And then my son painted tonight with us, and he wanted to show it. He was excited to show it off, but they drug him out the door because he was making noise. So, he's 4. I'm not sure what this one is, but this one that he did the other night, this is a self-portrait, and let me zoom out because it's a bigger sheet of paper, a stegosaur. He's very, 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 very important that I understand that this was a stegosaurus. Right. He pointed that out to me. And then the little girl tonight did this. She's proud of this. And she also sewed me a little wallet pouch thing while she was sitting over there with Granny. She sewed that, sitting over there on the side. She's very proud of that. And that's what she was working on over here on the side. And then one other thing, during All You Can Art Fridays, somebody poo-pooed the idea of using cheap watercolors. And I would just like to point out, I don't know what that's going to look like in 10 years, but I really had fun with that. That is painted with the Crayola watercolors, the $1.10 watercolors. I had a lot of fun doing that. So you don't have to have the top end stuff to have fun. You know, if you're looking for something that's going to archive for 100 years and have beautiful, rich colors, you might look into something a little more high end than the Crayola watercolors. But if you're just looking to have some fun for an afternoon, Crayola watercolors will work just fine. And typing paper, or this is mixed media paper bought at Walmart. So there's that. What else? Is there anything else? Did you have anything on your easel? Okay, that was what was on my easel. And that was what was on your easel. If you'd like to be a part of what's on your easel, simply send an email to blade@artisticbiker.com. Blade@artisticbiker.com. And we'll get you on it on what's on your easel. If you send me a direct message on Twitter, it will come to me in email. If you send a message to me on Facebook, it will come to me in email. If you send a message to me on G+, if anybody still does that, it will come to me in email. So just as long as you send it to me in a fashion that gets to me in email, I will be sure and get it on the show. If it comes to me in any other fashion, you have to wait till I discover it. But send an email to blade@artisticbiker.com, preferably with the subject line easel, and I will get you on the show, and we'll use your work to inspire other people to do stuff, because that's the whole purpose of the show, is to get people out there moving, doing something artistic and creative with themselves. So that said, this is not quite dry. We are going to dry this just a little bit more, and so I will take a break. And we'll be right back. Gadoosh, gadoosh, gadoosh. If you loved it, like it, share it, click the buttons. And as always, if you have a question or comment, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you for your continued support.